Hello, all you positive heads out there. It's so good to be back with all you beautiful reflections of the one source consciousness that creates and animates all things. If you're new to this podcast, of course, we are super happy to have you here, and we just ask that you bring an open mind and heart to your listening experience and to be prepared to explore vantage points that I'm convinced will help shift or solidify your current understanding of the ultimate nature of reality. While listening, you'll be exposed to inspiring, empowering, and unifying perspectives that I'm highly confident will yield stellar results in your life if you opt to try them on for size. Also, at optimistic.tv, we have officially begun releasing the first few episodes of our new late-night style, consciousness-elevating video variety talk show, Optimistic, which features live visionary art, soul share interviews, retreat guests here at the Mystic Manor, as well as live musical performances. I'm also super excited to announce that we are currently making plans to release the rest of Season 1 on my personal favorite online streaming service. So stay tuned to optimistic.tv to follow the unfolding development of this exciting Optimistic expansion, as we'll be posting more info and release dates there soon. And in the meantime, be sure to check out, of course, the first few episodes at optimistic.tv as well.
Hello, all you positive heads out there in positive headland. I am switching that up today just for our beautiful Samantha Lotus, who is right here with me today. Hi, Samantha.
I love it. Look at you.
You know,
changing the game.
I can't handle Samantha's face anymore when she hears me. She just tolerates it at this point. And so I'm like, yeah, I'll just say something else today.
I love it. I love it. We're going to have like this ongoing run-on joke forever about welcome back.
Right? You do my voice pretty good. I like that.
Aw. So glad to be here. Another gorgeous, amazing, beautiful time to be alive.
It certainly is a magical time, a very speedy time, you know, a time where we can really get a move on and create big, big, big things. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's also a time, like Eric and I were just talking about, to navigate some triggers and to go into the shadows and to look at the shit that we've tried to stuff in the back corner of the attic of our lives.
Yep.
Yeah, it's house cleaning. Spring too. Spring is house cleaning, and COVID, like hopefully nearing the end of this wave or whatever wave. It's, you know, like, how are we going to finally clear out the remnants?
Yeah, we have to, because that's how we move forward and we create a much more magical existence for ourselves. We can't bring all this baggage with us. It can't come forward. So we have to leave it. And we're all being presented with this. So I feel like I am, you are, everyone I talk to, there's so many opportunities right now, so many triggers, so much in the collective and within our own selves. And it works both ways, like always. Right? All this opportunity to figure out, all right, where's my baggage? Where's my blockages? Where am I living in fear, you know, or in negativity? And how can I leave that? How can I learn what's the lesson? And how can I move on? And we're figuring that out right now, but it's challenging for sure.
Yeah, it absolutely is. It absolutely is. I feel like it's, you know, a theme that's coming up in my life is really about setting new foundations. And I'm doing it in every aspect because everything's multidimensional. So I know I'm doing it spiritually, definitely. I'm doing it emotionally. I'm doing it physically, fixing my posture, fixing my hips and my ankles, you know, working out some knee stuff that I had going on for a while, fixing just like my neck structure. And yeah, it's been really interesting. Like, the words that are coming up are foundation, root chakra, security. And something that's been coming up a lot in myself as well as new partnerships is insecurity. Like these insecurities that are coming up where we aren't rooted in ourselves, or we don't feel safe in ourselves, or we don't feel safe in our connections. And the triggers and the insecurities coming up, I know that they're there purposefully for me as mirrors to show me different aspects of myself. And it's not easy, but it's definitely really powerful work that we're being called to do.
Yeah. And this foundational root chakra work, I feel like, is so important because it is the foundation. It is the cornerstone. It is the step that every other step is on. And so if the foundation isn't solid, what do you get with the rest of it? Not solid, right?
Yeah.
And so what I love about the root chakra is, and like the symbolism within it is, and I always think about the magician tarot card, because we are the magicians and we have this table in front of us with all of these tools and we get to pick. It's infinite possibility. And so when we have that sturdy foundation where we do feel secure and we do trust and we are grounded, then it's like, whew, look at all these possibilities. Look what I can make with this sturdy foundation. So root chakra, yeah, very, very important one.
Yeah, the magician card is a card that I don't pull often when I'm working with my deck. I have the oracle cards, goddess of the moon deck that I really love working with. And sometimes when I pull the magician card, it shows, whatever you're seeing in your reality, recognize that you are casting those spells. Like you are the magician. And whenever you're in victimhood, recognize that that's the mirror, the illusion, and that you really have the power to create and to cast spells and to bring into fruition whatever it is that you desire, and to really remember your power. And it's always such a good reminder that, whenever we're triggered, whenever something upsets us, whenever there's something going on the outside world, it's like, okay, well, why is that here for me? Why is that showing up for me? What's the lesson in that? How am I meant to grow? Because it wouldn't be happening in your sphere if you didn't need it.
Absolutely. Or you wouldn't you wouldn't notice it. It would just fly right by you. It wouldn't trigger you. It wouldn't set off any bells. It would just, because it's already learned. Yeah. So there's no reaction. Way different.
Yeah. Let's talk. I mean, I'm sure a bunch of our listeners are in partnerships or, some kind of relationships. And so do you want to talk about relationship triggers?
Oh, there's so much fun. Yeah. Let's talk about it because, that happens to me quite a bit. And I am in a soulmate relationship. That is very apparent. It's actually, if you guys ever heard me talk about my Indian palm leaf reading, it's in my flippin' palm leaf. So he is my written soulmate, and it can still be very triggering and very difficult at times, but very worth it because our love is so intense, right? And it's in this relationship, and we knew it from the beginning because it's a feeling like you're my person, and that's kind of that,
Yeah.
So it's a different feeling than I've had in other relationships where I've had an immense love for people in other relationships where I've been triggered in those types of relationships. I think the reason why I'm putting this out is because we're going to be triggered in all types of relationships. And just because we're triggered in a relationship doesn't mean it's not the right relationship for you.
Yeah.
Do you know
absolutely.
what I mean? Because we're supposed to be in relationships to work out our shit together. And it's the best way for us to have that mirror and that support and that love while we're doing it,
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't like to say that there's a right way or a wrong way. However, there's a sovereign way and then there's a codependent way to navigate relationships.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of people, let's talk about insecurity. So a lot of people, when an insecurity comes up in a relationship, then there's a codependent pattern. So one person gets triggered and has an insecurity, and then the other person validates that insecurity or like apologizes for it or tries to make up for it or mediate their response so that the other person doesn't have that insecurity. But that's not really where the healing happens.
Right.
It's about the person that has the insecurity recognizing like, wow, this is something inside of me that's being triggered. Right. And it's my responsibility to soothe myself and to bring myself into wholeness and completion within myself and meet my own needs and heal this trigger, recognize where it comes from and heal this trigger, rather than making my partner mediate their behavior or whatnot, so that I can feel better. And it's like, we need to really see the radical responsibility that gets to happen between relationships, so that we're not falling into these codependent patterns, and then resentment builds up when we're not being our authentic selves. And that's where I feel a lot of the fabrications of relationship completely deteriorate.
Mm. Yeah, wow. It's really tough to do that in a relationship with yourself. That takes a lot of personal work, introspection, like a good amount of time to even understand, like, oh, this is about me, because relationships are the most triggering, right?
Yeah.
And to be able to, and I think that in my relationship, I think we have a really good way of lovingly pointing out to one another, hey, this is about you. And, this is from your childhood for whatever reason. And remember? And then it's like, oh, we've kind of developed a way where we can do that a little bit. We're still working on it. I think relationships are a constant effort.
Yeah, that's so important, to be able to not call somebody out, but call them
Yeah.
forward. Like being
Yeah.
like, hey, babe, what I'm imagining, and not blame like, oh, you're doing this, but
Yeah.
hey, what I'm seeing or what I'm hearing or what I'm feeling is that this trigger is actually less about what I'm doing, but it's more about how, you have a pattern of not feeling heard. And this
Mm-hmm.
like triggered that pattern of not hearing heard. And then I imagine like you're projecting that onto me, but really like I'm here and I'm listening. Right. And
Right.
so
Yeah.
it's really interesting. Yeah. When we can recognize each other's patterns and programs and triggers and wounds, and not go in to soothe them ourselves, but just to hold that loving mirror to the other person, to allow them to really rise and to recognize themselves, and then to be called forward so that they can make a new decision for themselves.
Yeah, I heard about a really good tool for this, and I really love it, because there are triggers so deep within us that we don't even know. Our partner could trigger us and we just get so mad and we don't know why, right? And they don't understand. And so instead of like getting mad, recognize the trigger and have like a trigger word that you guys can use. And maybe it's something like buttercup, that they say something, it makes you really mad. And instead of getting mad, you just say buttercup. And in buttercup, they understand, oh, that triggered her. Okay, why did that trigger you? And then you can talk about it, because it's like a silly, funny word. It kind of breaks it up,
Yeah.
And then, all right, let's talk about why this triggered you. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I like that tool.
Yeah.
And then,
I love that.
Yeah, there's another one that I thought about today. So when like working with yourself and your own energies and your own blockages. So I'm going to tell a little story about, because it's a root chakra one. And I was working with balancing my centers one day, and I saw that there was like a blackness or a blockage in the root. And I asked, show me a picture about what that is. And I was immediately brought back to my kitchen as a little girl. And I was sitting at the table and we were eating dinner as a family. And I can even remember the kitchen table had one of those old sewing machine grates, where the pedal moved up and down and the wheel spun. And I would play with that when I ate dinner. So we had this meal and it was really good. And after we were done, my dad said, hey, did you like that? And I was like, yeah, it was pretty good. And he was like, do you know what you just ate? And I was like, I don't know, meat. He was like, yeah, that was venison. You just ate deer. And in that moment, I like lost all trust for my father, right?
Wow.
Like as a little girl, like that was heartbreaking to me to eat a deer. And I know like, what's the diff, right? I see it differently. As a little girl, I didn't understand that. I thought it was awful. And so I created this blockage of trust. I started not trusting everybody. Anything anybody told me, I'd be like, is that true? Are you lying? Right? So
yeah, wow. I'm going to jump on that real quick and just share a story. I remember when I was like 4 or 5 years old, I recognized that Santa Claus was my uncle, and I could just see his face, like it. And I remember asking, like, "Are you Uncle Glenn?" And no, I'm Santa Claus. And then I remember asking my mom, like, "Is Santa Claus Uncle Glenn?" And no, I was maybe like 5 or 6 at this time. And I remember them saying, no, it's Santa Claus. Like, be a good girl. Like, Santa Claus, you're not going to get gifts. My parents would always say that to me. And then I remember thinking I was going to go look. And when Santa Claus, I remember like looking out in my window and seeing him in his car, and he took off his white beard and his hat and he went into my uncle's car, and I knew it was my uncle. And so I didn't say anything to my parents, but I asked them, I remember like a few days later, like, Mommy, please, you promise you would never lie to me. I would never lie to me. Okay, tell me, is Santa Claus real? Yes, Sammy, Santa Claus is real. And he wants to make sure you're a good girl. And I remember being distraught, crying and screaming like, how could you lie to me? And my whole concept of reality, then everything was questionable. It's like, then I found out that they'd lied to me about the tooth fairy. I found out that they lied to me. Then I just became atheist. I was like, okay, well, God, clearly, if I can't see it and I can't pull its beard off its face, it's not real. And so, yeah, that root chakra foundation wound right from childhood.
Mm-hmm. And it's those things we don't even remember, and it's there. And it's like this little gremlin in the closet that's just hidden in the shadows until we're like, hey, what is that? Hey, tell me, because you can do this all by yourself and work with your own self and just say, hey, what is this? Oh, this came from that. And now as an adult, I can look back at that and I can see it in a whole new light from a whole brand new perspective. And I can give that little girl a hug and I can let that energy go because it's not relevant in my world anymore. You know, I can trust, right? I can trust the world. There's lots of good people in the world. Yeah, way better.
Beautiful. Yeah, and that's that trigger work, right? Where we notice the trigger. Like, what do we need? We need to go down into ourselves, into that inner child work, into the past regression, and go back to those places and give ourselves what we needed. Mm-hmm. And often that energy, if you have a big lump in your throat, if sometimes you go into it and you remember that you were a little girl and you were about to cry and your dad said, like, big girls don't cry, and so you held it down, and that created an energetic blockage, which is the lump in your throat. Well, now when that lump comes up, what does it need? It needs to release. It needs to just let go. And often if you've had this pain, and a lot of times hypothyroidism is related to shutting down your throat and suppressing your voice and your truth, like that will cause dis-ease because of these energetic blockages. And so really going in and asking your body what it needs, asking the little boy or little girl what needs to be expressed, what needs to be shared, like it's so much power is in that, in really healing your body and your emotions as well as your past, which then heals your present and your future.
Yeah, absolutely. And all of this can be done in our minds because, this is how we time travel in our minds. It's very, very, very easy. Like you can all just close your eyes right now and imagine like a holiday meal with your family and look around and see everybody who's sitting there, hear all the sounds, everybody talking and laughing and plates clanging. You can even smell the food. You can taste it, right? You have just traveled in your mind. That's that simple. And so when you're working like this, you just ask yourself, when did this start? At what period in my life? What happened? And just stay still and you'll get a picture and you'll go back to that time and you'll see it. It's such a good way to work with it. And it just becomes so clear when you can look at it in your new aware perspective now.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can do that for anything, any body pain that comes up, any trigger that comes up in relationships. I used to always want my partner to soothe my triggers. And I've realized and recognized and learned over the years that it's not their responsibility. And each time that they soothe my trigger, well, I don't get empowered. I just learn that I need to be soothed and validated by somebody else. And
now
so
you're dependent on them. Yeah.
Work. And then I'm dependent. Exactly. And that's where that codependence happens.
Yep. Yeah. And it's interesting too. Like we talk about doing the work, and yes, we do the work, but it's not really work. Like it's simple. It really is simple. It's just quiet stillness. And then the answers just come. Trusting that. It's really just trusting that we have all of the answers.
So what about for somebody that is like cannot quiet the mind? So like they're trying to lay there and feeling, but the mind is just racing and racing and racing and going all over the place.
So with that, I would say start with doing some visualizations, like purposely focus your mind on something or an energy or a mantra, a thought, whatever it may be, and do that for a while, and then you'll be focused. Then you'll just become, it's just you just got to shut it up by doing something else. So focus on something else. Use other, I like the Ho'oponopono. That's a really good way to use visualization, and thought form, because you can work with yourself, you can work with others, you can work with the whole world all at once in stages, however you want to do it. You can imagine these energies of love and forgiveness and gratitude coming through you and everybody else in the whole world, and if you take your time with it, that's going to take a while, right? And so you'll be nice and focused once you get done. It's, I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, and thank you.
Yeah,
So,
I love that.
yeah.
I say it in a little bit of a different pattern, but it's still the same. And I believe that the keys to healing, there are two. The two keys to healing are compassion and forgiveness.
Yeah.
And when you can look at yourself in your mind or somebody else, and the way I say it is, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you. I know you're sorry, I forgive you, you're welcome, I love you. And repeating that over and over and seeing it and seeing the pain undo, or the ties untie, and the past, really alchemize, and the energy shifting and changing. Like, this is the transmutation of pain into beautiful lessons and possibilities. And it's something like, exactly like you said, you can do it in your own mind, in the comfort of your home.
Yeah. And you have to, it has to come from within. We'll never find this outside, and we could look and look and look, and really we'll find that, oh, I can do this at home by myself. There's lots of people that can help me along the way, of course. Yeah. But this all comes from inside me. Yeah.
Yeah. This is so fun. So everybody has someone that they need to forgive. Maybe it's your mom, maybe it's your dad, maybe your grandma, your grandpa, your brother, your sister, your ex-partner, an ex-friend. Maybe it's yourself. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Maybe it's yourself. Maybe it's me and Erica. I mean, we've said some things that may have triggered you. And so, when you hold a grudge towards somebody, it really is a double-edged sword, because you're hurting yourself as well. And so when you release and forgive, you really are doing yourself a favor and setting yourself free. So if this resonates, we'd love to invite you to take some time and to just allow your mind and body to go through things that might not have been forgiven or released, and to do this work and to put this into practice, and to allow yourself to feel the amazing shifts that can happen from this kind of work.
Huge shifts. I mean, and like we were talking about at the beginning, this is how we move forward. We got to leave all the baggage behind and move forward in our light, magical bodies that are there already. You just got to let a little bit of the weight go. Yeah.
And magic and light. Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, Erica, I agree.
Mm-hmm. Well, Samantha, this has been absolutely magical today. I just love you. We are going to be out of here for the day. We're going to leave you with a song. This is Nako and Medicine for the People. We are on time. Until next time, we love you all.
Love you.
And if you're feeling the call to come for a week retreat style Mystic Manor immersion, remember to go now and book your time to speak with me directly about stepping into the optimistic vortex at calendly.com/talk with Brandon while there are still spots left. Otherwise, I look forward to co-creating magic with you at the Mystic Manor.
I'm not going anywhere, babe. This is your home. It's a safe place. We're electric summer storms. Calm these waters when a sail is torn. Now I won't fight you, there's no need. Such projections, they make us weak. Every compass needs a North Star. Tame this reckless the trigger, push my buttons, aim for reasons. God, we're so stubborn. Is this patience showing grace? When to be close and when to give space. Oh, baby, ground me, lightning rods. Come and shelter in these arms. Sometimes I'm broken, sometimes I'm mended. On the road I can cope to get up and do it all over again. I am on your side. I am on your side. I am on your side. I am not drawing a line. Only want what is right, what is best for your life. Meet me in the streets in the dark in your bare feet. Meet me in a place like your heart drop a fast beat. Wind begins to blow, it's a sweet validation. Nature has your signs and their clear affirmations. We're on time. We're on time. So come on, turn the lights down, give a little, get a little. Come on, let your guard down, give a little, get a little. Come on, turn the lights down, give a little, get a little. Come on, let your guard down,